Hey, this is Deric, and welcome back to another episode of Cooking Under Quarantine. Today we're going to be doing chicken stir fry. So I had you guys watch the previous video where we made Chinese fried rice. That is paired along nicely with this one, but it's not required. You can make this and put it on top of sticky white rice by itself, or you can serve it on top of the fried rice that we made earlier in the other episode, or alongside. In this episode, I think we'll serve it alongside how I like to do it, because the fried rice is nice. I don't like to mix the taste if I can avoid it. So what you're going to need to make this is going to be a few things. And the skill set level on this one's probably, out of from 1 to 5, it's probably a 3. The reason for that is it just takes a while. We have to fry a lot of things separately. You can't just store it all in a batch and cook it. It has to be done separately. When we re-enter it, we enter it in different things at the end. Like, we don't put the pea pods in back into it when it's cooked until the very end, because if you did that, they go soggy. I like them a little crisp al dente, along with the bean sprouts too. So what you need for this, to make this today, is going to be pea pods. I got about a little less than a pound of pea pods in here, and a little less than a half a pound of snap peas, or sugar snap peas. And you can see the difference. The snap peas are a little thicker than, say, the pea pod. Pea pod's really skinny. Bean sprouts, fresh or canned, either one. Just gotta wash them. I had 3 stalks of celery. I cut them up into little pieces, nothing big. 1 medium-sized onion, and I just kind of cut this like you cut onion rings, because we're gonna fry it like that. 2 cans of wild chestnuts. You can do sliced or whole. I prefer whole. 3 or 4 cut up pieces of garlic. A little bit of ginger. Pico Man oil, because we got to fry it, and a little bit of wine. Now, what we didn't put in the video, and I should have put in the video, was the marinade for the chickens. This chicken is about 3 pounds of chicken, 2.75, something like that, and I had it marinating overnight. And I had it marinated in the Kiko Man, and I did about half a cup of Kiko Man, half a cup of white wine, 2 tablespoons of minced ginger, and typically I'll put minced garlic in there as well. I don't think I had any in this one. Oh, and also 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So the marinade itself is going to be half a cup of Kiko Man, half a cup of wine, let's call it a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, and 2 heaping tablespoons of ginger, and maybe 1 heaping tablespoon of crushed garlic if you have it. I don't put fresh garlic in there like this minced up. I would put the one that comes in the can. It just emulsifies a little bit easier. This one would still stay chunky. I have to really cook it down, and a lot of times that would burn if I cooked it too long. But we're going to cook this in batches. It's going to take a little while to cook each one. You have to know when to do it, and you want to cook the same things alike, like the water chestnuts and the celery are going to go first because they take the longest to cook, so we can cook them together. You will need a couple paper towels and some paper plates, because you got to cook batches, dump it, put another thing in, keep everything separate until the end when we put it together and it pops. Anyways, we'll see you at step 1. Okay, we're at step 1 here. So we just put the pan on. I put a little bit of the vegetable oil. You can use vegetable or canola oil, just enough to coat the pan a little bit. And I have it on high heat right now. I'm going to switch it down to medium in about a minute. Just want it to get warm. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the celery and the water chestnuts together. They cook roughly at the same time. They take as long to cook, and they're both kind of a hardy plant, so they take just as long to cook. So we get lucky because we can put these 2 together. And basically I had to wash everything. And then look for the whole chestnuts, you know, just wash them. And the celery, you set 3 stalks and cut it up. You can see the pieces, the size of the pieces that are in. What I like to do myself personally is, because we're using oil, obviously when you fry anything, you know, it's not as good as baked, but I'm going to heat up a little bit here because this flicker is going a little slow. But I try to put, just like you make bacon in the morning, I try to put paper towel down when I reintroduce the material back into the bowl, just to kind of catch any of the oil it can catch. The more oil I can take off, the better it is for everybody. So I try to, as I put it back on, do that. And every time I cook something and I put it in the bowl, I make sure I rinse the pan out, or at least wipe it down before I introduce new oil or new food into it. Not that I really, care about mixing flavors or like that. I don't want to, but at the same point, I don't want anything left over into the next batch of food because they could cook at a different temperature at different times. So I'm gonna cook this for about 5 to 8 minutes, depending on how I like it, and then we start the next one. So we finished the celery. It took about 8.5 minutes to get that done. I started getting like a little brownness on it, so I knew it was done. Now we're gonna do the pea pods. Now the pea pods, that's because they're a little wet and washing them. The pea pods cook really quick, so you want to make sure that the heat is a little lower than you cook, say, the chicken at, or even the celery or the water chestnuts. Those are a lot of good use. These cook quick and they burn fast. So you really got to stay on top of them, and you got to constantly be turning them. And you'll see them cook because they change color. Now, some places you go, you get them. They'll be in the whatever you get, like deep pea pods, and they'll be wilted. That's because they put them in there. They stayed in there longer than they should have, and they wilt. So I like a little al dente. So I just want to fry them up to get them cooked, but still have a crunch. Uh-oh. Not there yet. These really gotta watch them. I mean, these will start browning quickly. If I just let it sit, like and wait a couple minutes, they'll all be brown, almost black on the bottom. And when you make these, if you got kids in the house, you gotta watch them because this is like fried bacon in the house. You know, you gotta make bacon in the morning, bacon and eggs, and maybe you start with the bacon like I do because you use the grease for other stuff later on. And then you leave that bacon while you're cooking eggs and some hash and all stuff up on the table, and people walk by like, yeah. That's how these pea pods are. These pea pods are also good in like salad. You ever try to, if you're gonna make a salad and you need like one bag isn't enough, you want to add something to it besides croutons or something else, these sugar snap pea pods are really good. And I'll tell you what, I used to buy them at Shaw's all the time, and Shaw's wanted, for a bag of them, they wanted like $5, $4.99, and like the Green Giant, like a half pound, for like $5.99. When I went to Market Basket, they have these ones that they sell there. It's like $1.5 pounds for like $2.50. So now I buy them all the time. I was like, I'm not paying $5 for a half a pound of pea pods. I mean, I can get that at the Chinese restaurants for kind of hard. But when I went to Market Basket and saw that they had theirs, so you get double the amount and half the price, I mean, you can't argue with that. So these are pretty much done. I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to go to the next step, which is the next. All right, so we're on to the next step, which is basically going to be the bean sprouts. And these, again, these fry up really quickly, so you don't want to spend a lot of time letting them sit there. Just like the pea pods, you want to move them around, let them cook for a little while, and you want these sort of al dente too. Again, the fresh ones may cost you a little bit more money, like $1 more than the canned ones, but they definitely taste better. The only problem is they only last in the refrigerator, maybe 6, 7 days. If you're getting a week out of them, maybe get a week out of them. Usually it's 3 or 4 days. So whenever you buy them, you just know that you have to make whatever you're going to make with them sooner than later. Now some people also put these in salads as well, bean sprouts in salads. I don't, but I like them kind of like, I wouldn't say crunchy because these aren't crunchy, but I still want them like watery. I don't want them all dried out and squishy, wiggly, soft. I don't know. They definitely taste better as they're sort of kind of fresh if they're just kind of par cooked a little bit. And again, I washed these twice, drained them, and barely put any oil in this pan for these because these will suck up oil like crazy. That's why I don't have to put a paper towel in this. So this will be done in about, I'll cook this for about 2 minutes, then we're on to the next step. So we're at the next step now. Basically, we're going to do the onions. And what we'll do is we'll cook the onions, and I put 2 kinds of onions in there. I put regular Vidalia onions. And I use a little green onions. And basically whatever the green onion is, you can cut a green onion, or a scallion, whatever you want to call it, into 2 parts. So the part that's near the root, which is white, is more thicker and coarse, and the green part at the very top is more leafy. So I like to cut the stalk in half, kind of where it transfers from the white to the green, or maybe a little bit before that. Take the green and cut that up and set that aside. We use that as a garnish on top of it afterwards, but the white part of the onion, which is similar to these, with the green onion, you put it in with the onions and you cook it with it. It adds a little flavor. This is why you can't just use a spatula for this. Sometimes you gotta kind of get in here and break things apart, especially when you're doing the chicken. Just having a spatula wouldn't be enough. You have, because you gotta turn the chicken. Sometimes I can't turn it all the way with the spatula the way I want to turn it or move it. So I had to get my tongs in hand, try not to scrape the pan at all. And the onions take, they don't cook, they're not as quick as sort of the pea pods or the bean sprouts. But what we're trying to do with these is on these ones, we definitely want to wilt them down a little bit. We don't want them to be fresh. No one wants to bite into a fresh onion, even if it's stir fried. So we'll wilt these down a little bit, probably have them there for about 5 minutes. Right before I take them out, I'm going to add garlic into it, and because the garlic doesn't take long to cook at all, and I want to add that garlic flavor to the stir fry. So I'll add that at the very end, and the garlic takes about a minute or 2, if even that, to kind of emulsify and turn brown. Too much long will burn the garlic and you taste it throughout the whole dish. Okay, we're back for the next step. We're actually finally getting to the chicken. And this one takes a little while. I try to get as much of the sauce that I marinate off of it as I can. Jesus, that's dangerous. I'll show you the picture of how I cut up the chicken. You can see, come up like just like this, flat and round. Oh, I get peppered over here by the grease spot. It's not even that high. What I'm trying to do is get enough in here where I can do it in 2 batches. I don't want to have to do 3 batches of chicken. Now, like I said earlier in the recipe, if you want to add things to this like broccoli, bamboo shoots, bok choy, anything that you like in your stir fry, you can certainly do that. And you can also change the chicken to beef. I like the beef actually. I would use like steak tips, sirloin steak tips, and cut them thin, like thin strips. But my kids don't like beef as much as I do, so everyone agrees on chicken. So you gotta do what everyone agrees on. Or in this, we're locked in our house together, so we want to make sure. And this is where, like I told you, those tongs work a little bit better than the spatula on this one. I can make sure that every piece gets flipped over versus hoping that everything gets flipped over. And because the chicken's been sitting in a little bit of brown sugar, teriyaki sauce, wine, it starts to caramelize a little bit, and you see that brownness come on it. As I'm flipping some of the pieces over, I can see it myself. See that edge there, that little bit of brownness. When it's before we take it out of the pan, we want all the pieces to have that brownness everywhere, as much as we can. And we'll make sure this is fully cooked, because your kids may come down and try to take a piece without looking, and you don't want them to eat a piece of raw chicken like my son just trying to do off camera. What are you doing? What? I'm not supposed to have this? No, you're not supposed to have raw chicken. That's not good for you. Plus, it's not going to taste good. That first part, when I was putting it in, was getting splattered because the liquid from the sauce. It's like water putting on oil. So I'm going to let this cook a couple minutes. Going to flip it over a few times and look for that brownness. and into the next batch. And then before I go to the put everything together, maybe I'll pull up a piece and show it to you so you can see it. You know, watch 10 minutes of me cooking chicken. So I want to give you guys an idea of what this chicken looks like when it's done. So it gets that brownness to it, the edges. I'll let you know that's what you're looking for when you know the chicken's done. If it would work, that would be nice. It's not working. Okay, now that the chicken's done, the vegetables done, this is where it starts coming together finally. After all hard work and all your hard watching, we can start putting this thing together. So the first step is we want to make a little base for this. We want to have sort of a watery soup, not soup, but we want some broth with this. So to start a little bit of cooking wine. And that was a sprinkle. And obviously you want to do some teriyaki sauce. And we want to be happy, hearty with this. So use a good amount. This is our base. I suppose I could put a little soy sauce in there. Just transparency. So we use both. I'm pretty much using everything I made in the base except for the brown sugar. And that's because I don't want the brown sugar in there. So 1 scoop of ginger. Now we're just going to kind of let that kind of go together. So fresh ginger is pretty much a must in almost every stir fry you're going to have, unless you're allergic to ginger, then you can put it in there. But it adds that Asian sort of flavor, I guess. I don't just think of like enough sauce in here, but we're going to have to go with it. Once that's in, now I can start adding things back in. First thing to go in with the chicken and everything is the one that cooks the longest and is the most hearty. So we're going to put the onions, the garlic, the water chestnuts, and the celery in there. And just by adding that, it's finally going to start to look a little like a real stir fry. So we want this to kind of go in, get some of that sauce. Maybe I do it with the tongs. Yeah. Maybe let go some of its juices if it has anything left. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to put this lid on. Make sure this is really low. I'm going to let that sit low for a little bit. I think we got a little bit. Let's maybe just a little bit more. Nothing wrong with a little wine. So we'll let it sit for a few minutes, marinate together, come up with its own sort of flavor. A lot of that flavoring from the chicken is going to rub off on there. The teriyaki, the ginger, it's all going to kind of blend together. Or start to blend together. And the reason you want a little juices is, number one, my kids always fight over the juice. Hey, there's no more sauce, I need some sauce on it. So I try to save that sauce for the end. And then I pour it over the chicken when it's on the plate a little bit. But especially if you're not having fried rice, you're having just white rice. You definitely want to add sauce on that because it's going to coat the rice a little bit, give you that brown look, nice look to it. So we'll let this cook for a minute. We come back, we're adding our bean sprouts, and then those will only sit in there for a minute or two. We'll turn it off. We'll toss in the pea pods, and then it's going to really look like a stir fry. Okay, well now we're going to add the bean sprouts to this, and this is going to add just one more aspect. It's going to look that much more like an authentic stir fry that you get at a restaurant. And these beans will absorb some of the sauce, which is what we want. And even these vegetables add their own sort of flavor, not just when you bite into it, but whatever you know, thing is on them, out of starch or something else is on them, it lends itself to the broth. Like anything else, if you're going to make, you know, chicken soup, you always kind of add vegetables in there because the vegetables add sort of a vegetable broth to it. And believe it or not, I think I still need to add a little more teriyaki to this. And this is because I've done it so many times, I kind of know what I want it to look like before I turn it off. And it's almost there. And I also look for a certain smell that it would give off. And when I opened the lid, when I was taking it off, it definitely had it. A lot of cooks, you know, will cook to taste. We'll keep tasting it. And I guess, you know, when we make certain sauces, certain things, be able to do that. This one, I don't know if it's the smartest thing to do. Some heat on it. So I'm gonna let that set up for about a minute. Then we're gonna turn this off, throw the green beans, the pea pods in, and it's gonna have that look. So we're just adding the green beans now. I almost stirred them in without letting you guys see it. So I just put them up on the plate, pour them in. But now it's really gonna have that look that, you know, what you see on menus. You go, oh, I want number 4. It has that fresh, crisp look. And I'm just turning this in so everything gets some of that sauce in there. And you can kind of take a look at that from there, what that's going to look like. That's amazing. We're just going to turn the heat off. That's it. Get rid of that piece. And next thing for us to do is plate this bad boy. We made it. It's done. It took about an hour. And again, not so much difficult, just a lot of stuff because you have to fry everything separately. If you could just throw everything in a pan and fry it, it would be like a level 1 in terms of difficulty. This I would consider like a 3. It just takes time. Got to put it together. Don't want to overdo anything. Certain things have to go in certain steps. But when it comes together at the end, it's totally worth it. So let's take a look at this. Now, if you didn't see the video I made earlier today for the fried rice, you might want to see that because I served this with that. And if you definitely want to see the video I made yesterday about the vodka, strawberry, and basil drink, oh man, you're missing out. You can check on that one too. Anyways, so let's take a look at this. So this one here, my kids like the rice separate. Again, you can serve this stir fry a couple different ways. Separate on top of the rice, or if you made white rice, I definitely put on top of it. Take this, take a big scoop, put it there. Let you guys see that plate. That is plated and ready. Look at that. And I'm telling you, the crispiness of this stuff, just with that crunch to it, it makes all the difference. Bean sprouts still have a little of that flavor. I mean, a little of that al dente to them, but not much. You want them a little wilted. They give up for flavor. But I'm telling you right now, you want to make your kids happy, make homemade Chinese food, this is it. Now, sometimes with this, I'll buy those frozen egg rolls, like Panda King or whatever they are, and I'll heat them up in the oven 20 minutes, and I'll serve an egg roll with this as just a little, like, we're at home with Chinese food. But I hope you guys enjoy this. My kids love it. Your kids are going to love it too. Stay safe and enjoy the food.